Hello world, this is JJ and I'm your host with African American News Channel. Now today we have some very interesting episodes for you guys. So make sure you stay tuned, make sure you subscribe if you like the videos, and make sure you stay to the end because trust me, we have some very interesting episodes for you guys today. Now our first episode is about an African American woman who says, hold on, Africans. We ain't the only one that called y'all African booty scratchers. Africans call Africans African booty scratchers too. Watch this video.
You know this little diaspora that the blacks are having again? The AA versus African and the whole, well, you call me an African booty scratcher and this, that, and the third, blase. Can we talk about the imposters? The calls that were coming from inside the house? Because, yeah, that was one thing. Honestly, if you were dark-skinned, you was going to get called an African booty scratcher. But, can we talk about the Africans that were pointing their fingers calling other people African booty scratchers? You be walking around telling people, yeah, my name is Sean. Your name is Shenwoo. You could call me Toby. Oluwatobi, like spit it out correct. I was so shame. I remember all the little boys. Oh, hell no, I'm Black American. All the little girls. I'm from Jamaica. My mommy's half Indian. You were claiming everything but Africa. Personally, I see it as, yes, becoming more popular, but it's not that they're accepting us, but more we're accepting ourselves. And because everybody loses sim, you don't know who's African until they open their mouth or tell you their last names.
How did you guys feel about that story? Was she right or was she wrong? Comment below. Now our next story is about a Jamaican woman currently live in America. And she says she knows why Africans and Jamaicans and different people from different countries think African Americans are lazy. Watch this video.
So I want to respond to this quickly because I need people to understand that one of the reasons that Jamaicans and other African diaspora people react to African Americans and talk about African Americans in a way they do is because this was taught to us by white America. This is part of what I'm studying now in my graduate program. When they first started to recruit people to come to work here, right, about 5 or 6 decades ago, they told them that the African Americans were lazy people and they did not want to work. Meanwhile, at that time, it was because they didn't want to pay African Americans more money. They wanted to give them slavery wages. But African Americans were trying to hold out for more pay. Instead of paying African Americans more, what they did was recruit black people from the Caribbean, at that time controlled by Britain. So it was very easy for them to convince Britain that, hey, send those people who are down there with no jobs to our country to work. And when they came here, the white farm owners and those agricultural people told them and ingrained in them that the reason that they have to come to work is because African Americans don't want a job, right? They went back home and they carried the same message and told the people there. And so this is a trope that has been passed on for decades and decades, year after year, as more and more come. That is what they care because that's what they have been told. Now, when you come and you live amongst African Americans, and if you really look into the history and look at the systemic racism, you'll know that is not true. But then you also realize how difficult it is when someone grew up and was taught a certain kind of saying or a certain kind of belief. It's very difficult to get it out of them. So I know that it is not true. I know that it's because people want decent wages for the work that they do. But yeah, it is absolutely true that a lot of Caribbean people, Jamaicans included, and other diaspora people have bought into this trope that African Americans are lazy.
How did you guys like that video? Was she right or was she wrong? Comment below. Now our next story is about an African American woman that says, Hold up, hold up. All this back and forth with Africans and African Americans going back and forth, and none of y'all know what y'all talking about. Ethnicity is different from nationality. Do y'all think she has the answer to this solution? Watch this video.
Okay, I'm sick of this. I'm gonna end this whole diaspora war right now between Africans and African Americans, okay? This whole I'm African, don't call me African American. I'm African American, don't call me African. I'm gonna end it, okay? Everybody gather around, hold hands, okay? Because what we need to do first is acknowledge that we're not even fighting each other. The battle is not between each other. What we're battling right now is fucking words, okay? You're battling the goddamn dictionary, okay? And I have allied with Merriam-Webster to end this battle, okay? So pay attention so you can send this video out so everybody know the battle has been won, okay? African is an ethnicity, American is a nationality. If you were born here a descendant of African slaves, you are an African by ethnicity, American by nationality. If you are an African and you come into this country and you do not naturalize, you are an African, whatever nation or country you came from in Africa. If you do naturalize and go through the citizen process and become an American citizen, you are now an African, ethnicity, American by nation, naturalized. If you are black and born here, but your parents were not and they are African, yet you were born here, you are an African American because your nation by birth is American. You are African ethnicity, American nationality. If you're an African American, you go to another country and naturalize their citizenship, you are now an African, whatever the fuck country or nation that is, okay? If tomorrow Russia takes over these lands and turns it into Russia and makes everybody naturalized into that citizenship, we will now be African, whatever the fuck nation that is, which is Russia now, okay? Okay, do you guys understand? You cannot lineage a nation because a nation can change any fucking time. The reason why people don't do that and put their stuff in front of it, right? Some of them do, Irish, American, Italian, some of them got it, but most of them don't. The reason they don't got it is because they don't realize that whiteness has erased and wants to erase everything about them and collectively align them with one central idea of a nation. Do you understand how weak it is for your ethnicity to be aligned with a nation? That means it could change and erase any fucking day. Pay attention. Okay? All right. At the end of the day, you guys gonna do what you want to do anyway. So I just want you to know right now that the battle has been won. Me and Miriam just want you guys to be aware of that, okay? Whoever wants to join the winning team, come over here because ignorance is the tool of the devil. And the devil is quiet, the agent of confusion. Yes. Have a good day. Bye.
Smart young woman, smart young woman. A lot of people didn't know ethnicity was different from nationality. So if you didn't know, you learned something today. Not only is it good to watch the African American news channel, but you also learn something too. Check this out. Now our next video. First of all, I'm too happy, too caught up in the moment, too caught up in the spirit. You know, yesterday was just Sunday, man. I'm too caught up in the spirit. Did you guys like that video? Do y'all feel like she was right? Comment below. Now, our next video is about an African man saying he's tired of foreigners saying African American women is lazy and they ain't nothing, they aggressive. He's tired of foreigners comparing foreign women to African American women. Watch this video.
Truth teller.
I want to address something that's been bothering me about my African brothers who are in America. They talk so negative of African Americans and their women. They say the women are not virtuous. They dress promiscuously. They curse. They do this. The negative stereotypes of African American women. My brother, even in Africa, African women could be rude. African woman also promiscuous. Everything that you think American woman is standing on. Black Africans in Africa, sometimes the worst pass American woman. So it's all about individual. Those stereotypic ideas on your head, you got to undo them. And look at every woman as a subject of virtue. Now, if they choose to live a life of promiscuity, to live a life that they spend their time cursing and ghetto, whatever it may be, that's that individual. It is not the entire population of African American women. Because in Africa, every time my brother they hear, oh, in my country, women, when man talk, women sit quiet. Women don't fight back. Women don't disrespect men. Women are lie. Go to the village. Bring a woman from Africa to America. After 2 years, now that woman could leave you because you be lazy man. Mumu man. Sometimes it is the person in question who you choose to be with. If they have responsible lifestyle, they will live responsibly, regardless of whether they are African Americans or they're Africans. So stop this division. Stop comparing African women and American women, because I tell you, a woman is a woman created by God, and what they choose to do really depends on what they chose to do, not because of what you want them to do. Okay? So, African woman, where you get virtue, correct, could respect you whether in Africa or in America. American woman, where you get correct virtue, could respect you whether it is for Africa or it is for America. Trust God. Stop judging, because you yourself are not better than the African American man. We are all equal before God. Amen. Share this.
How did you guys like that video? Was he right or was he wrong? Comment below. Now our next video is about an African American young man saying he's not African, he's African American. He said, "Don't call me African, I'm African American." Watch this video.
No, I'm not implying that you're not African because you were not born there. I am saying that, not implying, I'm going to explicitly say this. We do not have a connection to African cultures because the transatlantic slave trade and the brutality of American chattel slavery destroyed our connection to the cultures. Our ancestors were ripped away from their homes, separated from their families and tribes, and very deliberately had all of their ways of connecting and keeping their cultures alive stripped away from them. We are not African, fam. We are African Americans. I prefer Black American because, frankly, I have no personal, emotional, or cultural connection to Africa. I do not. Now, you can have whatever opinion you want about that, and I'm not going to take that away from you. That is your prerogative. But when you say that, if you went to the motherland, to Africa, you would be taking a plane trip to a arbitrary country of your choice because you're not going home. You're going to somewhere in West Africa, as you say. And two, you would not be seen as an African by those Africans. You would be seen as an American tourist. Now, you might be seen as a sister. You might be seen as a loved one, and they might, treat you with some care, and you might get to learn about an African culture, and that would be beautiful. That'd be lovely. But that would be you as an American going to Africa to learn a culture of arbitrary decision, unless you somehow have a connection to an African country of today. We are not African, not merely because we were not born there, but because our ancestors were ripped away and had their cultures destroyed. So, when I say we're not African, that is because I'm saying we are American. And that to randomly pick a culture in Africa to just be a part of is not nearly the same connection as an actual African that is part of that culture who is choosing to share it with you. Those are not the same thing. So, you asked me to stand up. I'm going to ask you for what? For what?
I'm back. How did you guys like that video? Was he right or was he wrong? Was he pushing it a lot or just a little? Comment below. Now our next video is about an African American man saying he don't understand why African Americans listen to when they say African people don't like African Americans. He say first off, it's 54 countries in Africa. You can't just let one country or a group of people say they don't like African Americans when there's 54 countries. Watch this video.
Yo, here's my beef, and this has always been my beef. And I want my people to listen to this from a perspective of reasoning. As somebody who has traveled to the continent of Africa, haven't been to every country, but I've actually been able to touch African soil, been able to interact with South Africans, East Africans, and West Africans. And I was greeted with respect, and I was greeted as a brother. I say that to say all this. I saw something on YouTube where a woman was asking some people, I think it was Kenya, some people in some country, and even the subtitle, Africans saying that they don't want African Americans or Black Americans in that country. See, I even that word Africans are saying, it's 54 countries. 54 countries. The United States is one country with 50 states. Could you even fathom a continent that huge with 54 countries? And yet you label Africans across the board. But anyway, I think it was Kenya. And it was a few people that stated that they didn't want Black people there in their country, or Black Americans in their country. And so, of course, the comment section went crazy. Here's the thing I never understood about our people, though. Our people have heard Asians, express their disdain. Not every Asian. Some Asians express their disdain for our people. And yet, that has not stopped any Black person from going over to Indonesia, Thailand, Bali, and any other Asian country. Black people have heard Latinos express disdain for us. Some Latinos. That hasn't stopped Black people from going to Mexico. That's not stopping y'all from going to Tulum. That's not stopping y'all from going to Cancun. That's not stopping y'all from going to the Dominican Republic or Puerto Rico or Cuba or any other Latin Caribbean place. So why give up on the whole continent because of what a few people say? It all has to do with the fact that it's been ingrained in us to separate from Africa, to hate Africa, to have a disdain for anything African. You know what I'm saying? You've seen how some whites have mistreated Black people, and yet that hasn't stopped y'all from going to European countries. Come on, stop with the cat, bro. Stop with the cat, peoples.
How did you guys like that video? Was he right or was he wrong? Comment below. Now our next video is about an African American woman who's teaching us about the rule of first mention about the Black culture. Watch this video.
All right, so before I go, I just wanted to say this one thing. I already talked about the definitions of Black, the different definitions of Black when it comes to African American. Black has about 4 or 5 different meanings, okay? African American vernacular English is like that, all right? So if any immigrant comes into America and is going to use any terminology that originated out of the African American culture and African American lingo, then they must understand how to use it and what it means. Period. For instance, the term black culture. The term black culture came up out of African American lingo. It means African American culture. Inside America, we are the original black people. So we say black. Inside America, black culture. So when I say black culture inside America as an African American term, it is African American culture. Okay? For anybody saying black culture is African American culture. It's called the rule of first mention. There's a law of first mention and a rule of first mention. You can look that up. The rule of first mention states that in order to know the true meaning of something, you have to go back to where it originated and what it originally meant. This is just the law of communication and law of definition. Black culture from the very beginning meant African American culture. It came from African Americans. Sing aloud, I'm black and I'm proud. James Brown. If a bunch of African Americans were to right now move into, let's say, Ghana, and Ghana had a definition of a term they'd always used, it's not up to me as an immigrant into Ghana to tell them, no, that's not what that means. Because yes, the flip, it does mean whatever the flip they said it means, because they have the rule of first mention, because they made up the term. They created the term. It's their lingo. So look up the rule of first mention, because it is an actual rule. It's an actual law. Even when we read scriptures, it's an actual rule in order to understand the context of a thing. If I were to move to South Africa, colored in my mind means something totally different than colored over there. But the term black culture originated out of the African American experience in totality historically. So the first law, the first rule of even using black culture has to go all the way back to African American. Always. Just like the first rule, the first mention of Igbo culture has to go all the way back to Igbo. And there's nothing that really can change that. Saying Igbo culture doesn't slight anybody. Saying black culture doesn't slight anybody. It's just a rule.
How do you guys feel about that video? Was she right or was she wrong? Comment below. Now our next video is about an African American man saying he's tired of African Americans saying they Aboriginals to America. He say Black Americans is not Aboriginal to America. Whew. Whew, it's getting hot in here. A lot of people gonna be mad at that. Whew. Watch this video.
Being the first in this land does not mean that we are original to this land. Don't confuse the arguments, because if you confuse the arguments, then you're going to confuse everything. You're going to be lost. Your compass, your GPS compass is going to be way off. So the point I'm making is this. It doesn't matter if you're talking about the Arapaho, the Winnebago Sioux, the Cheyenne, Romanos, any of those people. I'm very well acquainted with those people. And I'm well acquainted with the people that came before them in this land. The pyramid builders, the mound builders throughout Mississippi. So I'm very, whichever ones you want to name, the Seminole, the Black, doesn't matter which ones you name. The point that I'm making is that even those people came from someplace else before they was here. So don't come at me with that we are original to this land, because that's some bullshit. We are the first people in this land, but we're not original to this land. We are original to that continent over there, Africa. Africa. Don't ever get it twisted, because I will be the first one to set you straight. Doesn't matter who it is, because facts don't lie. 2 + 2 is 4, no matter where you stand in that, unless you're in a quantum physics universe. Then 2 + 2 might equal something different. But as long as we're dealing here on the plane structure, right? As long as we're dealing here on the plane structure, no matter what people that you find in this land, because there are no bones ever found anywhere in this land that date back to Homo erectus, Homo habilis, Australopithecus. All of those bone sequences are found only in Africa, Olduvai Gorge and further south. So if you're dealing with an essentialist movement and we're talking about original, You got to deal with that continent. You got to deal with that continent. And for all of the fools, and I'm going to really check you right now. For all of the fools that keep talking about the name Africa came from Africanus, the Roman, Dr. Ben has said 8,000 times you need to go back to the basics. So I keep telling you people, stop with all of these new so-called scholars because they don't have their basics down. Dr. Ben said 100,000 times, and he called you fools because you don't do research. The name predates Roman Africanus, whatever they call themselves, Separatists, whatever his name was. It was that area became a Roman province. But the reason why the name Africa became attached to his name is because the place of the name that you conquered became attached to your name. It was called that before he conquered it. So stop talking stupid shit. We are Africans. Period. Now, if you want to get rid of the American, I got no problem with that. If you want, I got a tattoo on my shoulder right here. If I say it, I mean it. 100% African, Nubian, and black. It's right there on my shoulder. So I never look in the mirror and get confused or get it twisted or let somebody come up to me and tell me that I'm original to this land.
How did you guys feel about the video? Was he right or was he wrong? Comment below. Now, our next video is about an African-American man saying he's tired of people not knowing what African-American mean, not knowing what black mean. He say black and African-American is two different things. It ain't the same thing, man. Watch this video.
So some people are still a little bit confused about this in the comments, and I forget that people are literally taught this. So let me break it down for y'all. African American versus people of color versus black. Also, for everyone who doesn't know what AA stands for, y'all, African American Vernacular English, AAVE, like AA. Abbreviations have multiple meanings. Are we good? Are we good? Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Just wanted to make sure. Okay. Anyway, let's start with why you can't call all black people African American, okay? African American. African American. Not all black people are African. Not all black people are American. So how can all black people be African American? And that's not me like coming for you or anything. That's just like in a literal sense. How can all black people be African American if not all black people are African and not all black people are American? And that's not on you if that's what you're taught. It's on whoever taught you. Now, in a not so literal sense, the term African American is typically used in regards to a specific ethnic group that is descended from American slaves. I saw someone in the comments say that Elon Musk is African American. No, he's not. No, he's not. So that's why you can't call all black people African American, because someone born and raised in Kenya, where's the American there? Where's the American? They're Kenyan. They're Kenyan. Someone who was born and raised in Jamaica, where's the American? Where's the African? Like, they're Jamaican. Now, as for people of color, while African American is too narrow when talking about black people, people of color is too broad. So when you want to talk about black people specifically, don't use people of color, because then you're not talking just about black people. You're talking about Pacific Islanders. You're talking about Hispanic people. You're talking about Arab people. You're talking about anyone whose skin has color to it. If you want to talk about black people, just say black. Just say black. I'd rather you say black than try to find a way to avoid saying black, because one, that's noticeable. We can tell when you're trying to do that. We can see the gears turning. And two, it makes it seem like black's a bad thing to be. Which I'm sure there are some of you out there that think it is, and you can honestly go die. But for everyone else, just say black. Now, there are some people who are like, I'm not black, black's a color, I'm African American, I'm Dominican, I'm whatever they are. If someone tells you they don't want to be called black, then just don't call them black. But for the most part, black's the most blanket term that we have that's not offensive. Okay?
How did you guys feel about that video? Was he right or was he wrong? Comment below. Now, my take on today's videos I showed you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video, remember to subscribe, comment, and hit the like button. I appreciate it. Now, my take on today's video about the whole thing is this. A lot of African Americans have identity crisis. We don't really know who we are. We don't know if we Indian. We don't know if we African. We just don't know. Because growing up as an African American, most African Americans was told they Indian. When you was little or when you was growing up, your family said you got a little bit of Indian in you. Your family ain't never said you got a little bit of African in you. But the whole thing is this. We do come from Africa. The Atlantic slave trade happened. It's proof out there, and that's just what it is. Now, we might do have a little bit of Indian in us, but that still don't mean that we're African. It don't mean that. It just don't mean that. We are African, and we can say we Indian. We can say we both. There's nothing wrong with being mixed African Indians. We African Indians. We don't want to be African Americans. We African Indians. But the point of the video is that you see that a lot of information that has been told to us has been told to displace us, to have us feud and going to war and doing all that. We just cousins. We just long lost cousins. We all need to get a hug, go to the family gathering, eat some cake, and chill. Because we all cousins. African Americans and Africans, we all cousins. So just come on and give me a hug, cousin. I'll see y'all next time. Hope y'all enjoyed the show. Peace, love, and may many blessings come you guys' way.
Big Carver. Yeah. Don't call me Kim, ho.
So y'all think y'all better than us? So you not regular Negro. You're like spicy Negro with an apostrophe at the end? It's all the same shit. We get it. Y'all got Tim's and Burna Boy. We got fucking Beyonce. I can see if we both didn't have air fryers. Like, bitch, who you really better than? They all want us dead anyway.